everybody, and welcome back to BK's Bullets. Today we're going to talk about Hawkeye, Episode 5. Hey everybody, welcome back to BK's Bullets. As always, I'm your host, Brent Casina, and today we're talking about Hawkeye Episode 5. Yes, I'm here in the Christmas spirit. Apparently, Hawkeye's not, because this show is not a Christmas show. I don't care what you say. It's not elf, it's not joyous, there's no romping going on. That trailer that we saw was fucking bullshit, and I'm still mad about it. So, before we get into the review, let me please ask you to please do one thing. Please subscribe. It helps me out, helps the channel grow, lets you know when I drop new videos, all that good stuff. So, I've been seeing some comments on some older videos saying you may not necessarily agree with me, and I think that is totally fine. I think it's fun to watch things that you don't agree with. One thing I will always let you know is what I truly think and try and be fair to the creators, to the content as much as possible. If I got other feelings about it, you know I'm an off-the-cuff kind of reviewer. You're going to know about it as it comes through my brain anyway. So, Hawkeye Episode 5. It didn't put me to sleep, unlike the last episode, but there was a little bit that I was kind of like, this is dragging on, and I feel like the points I was making last week about Hawkeye being a 6-hour-long movie stretched across all these little episodes when the story is very thin, that is proving, I think, to be true in this episode here, because we got one action sequence with Ronan. Now listen, I'm not looking for a bunch of action sequences every episode. I'm just saying that there are things here that could have been shortened, could have been clipped together, could have been more concise, because this is really a 6-hour-long movie without the content to fill that 6 hours. Now, like, the whole scene with Kate Bishop and Yelena, while I did enjoy it, did felt like it dragged on a bit too long. I feel like you could cut a lot of that, just the Yelena trying to be Yelena, trying to be funny stuff. You could have cut that a little bit shorter, you know, and had it have more impact and felt like more of a threat. So by the time Yelena was done talking to Kate Bishop, it was like, well, is she threatening her? Is she not threatening her? Like, she was awfully friendly in the beginning of this thing, or trying to be funny and all this other stuff. So, I don't know. Another thing that was weird about this was this beginning sequence with Yelena and us seeing her, like, which I thought was pretty cool, like, flash away, you know, dust away, and then come back 5 years later, and you saw, like, the bathroom change and all this other, like, redecorated, because she was in this house of the Black Widow she was trying to free. So it was a little bit like, wait, where does this take place? And I think what really messed it up is that they had that first, and then had the previously on Hawkeye, and then it actually got to the show. So it was like, why is this here? Why didn't you start with previously on Hawkeye, start with the Yelena bit, and then move on? So I'm kind of wondering if maybe this was like a trimmed piece from the Black Widow movie or some other Marvel project that she was supposed to appear in, that they finally decided to put on the front end of this Hawkeye show. Like, it felt, the styling was different, her hair was different, the makeup, like, her outfit there was pretty, like, I don't know about outfit, but makeup, hairstyle, all that stuff was pretty close to what it was in the Black Widow movie. So I think maybe that was shot around the same time, and then you had this thing. So that leads me to believe that this was not shot by the directors that were on the episode. Like, that must have been shot by the I think it was a woman director who directed Black Widow, because it felt very different. The tone was a little bit different. I mean, color-wise, like, it's kind of the same. Marvel movies always kind of look the same. But I want to say it really felt like a different thing, a different event. And so to put it here in front of the previously just kind of stuck out in a weird way. I like the scene. It gave more context as to, like, why Yelena is mad at Clint, because she wasn't here for 5 years and that kind of stuff. You know, she just reestablished her relationship. She got caught up in the snap, and then all of a sudden her sister is gone. Yeah, I would be upset too, but, you know, it's also strange that, like, that upsetness is not, like, she's not going to kill Clint. She's not going to kill Clint of her own volition. This is all a setup. This is all a contract, as we found out at the end of the episode. So it's like, you're not mad at him enough to kill him outright, but if someone pays you to kill him, all of a sudden, like, that's okay? Like, I have weird feelings about that. Like, if you're mad enough to want to kill him, I feel like you should have done it already. Or not have to be paid. Maybe this was a plus. Like, oh, I was planning on doing that at some point in the future, but if you're going to pay me to do it now, I guess I'll carry on it now. Like, I don't know. It feels a little bit weird. And then why tell Kate Bishop that her mother hired her to kill Clint? You know, I don't know. So it's weird. And then you have all these other things. Like, there's so many plot holes of just story left untold that could have been filled in maybe as more plot or more exposition or something that's a little bit more interesting than, like, oh, the dog is doing a trick or whatever. Like, you know, why is Clint worried about the Kingpin? I know we can't really know because, oh my gosh, this is a big revelation that the Kingpin is now in the Marvel Universe from the Netflix Daredevil show. You know, oh, it's a big freaking deal, but, like, I don't really care about him being in the MCU. I think Vincent D'Onofrio is a fantastic actor. I loved him in Daredevil as Wilson Fisk, aka the Kingpin. But as to why Clint's worried about him, all that kind of stuff is just, I don't know. It's a dangling plot thread that's just there to make you watch the next episode instead of offering any real substance, you know. It's always a tease with this show. It's always a tease. And then when you get to the next part, it's never resolved, never satisfying. It's always just another tease. And I gotta say, the trope now with these Marvel shows about the new suit is getting really old. Like, you had Wanda get a new suit at the end of WandaVision. That established it, right? And you were like, okay, yeah, cool. Then you had Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and that whole series was about Falcon becoming Captain America. So you knew he was gonna get a new suit. And they just kept it off and off and off until the final episode, and the whole final episode, which is fantastic, by the way. He gets a new suit. Loki, does he get a new suit? I don't really know. And now we have Hawkeye kind of cementing you get a new suit at the end of your Disney Plus show. Man, this is getting, like, just annoying. Like, what is next? Miss Marvel, right? Miss Marvel, I guarantee you she's going to have the crappy suit for the first 5 episodes, and by the 6th episode, she's gonna get her new suit. Moon Knight, if you're Moon Knight and you're wrapped around in gauze for 5 episodes and then get the suit at the very end, like, oh my, I'm just gonna lose my mind. Because then it's a trope, and then it's gonna get really old. Like, I want the next show, whatever it ends up being, to give the person the new suit in the 2nd episode. Like, let's move on. You know, you never see that in the movies. The movies, they always start with a new suit because they always bring on a new costume designer or a new art director, and they're like, hey, what can we do to refresh this, to set this movie apart from the last one? It's give the guy a new suit. Captain America, first suit, parachute straps. Second suit, stealth suit. And then he went back to the original one. Third movie, you know, Age of Ultron, entirely new suit. Civil War is a little bit different variation on that. And then you had Infinity War, and then it was like all blacked out because Captain America's a bad guy. You know, Steve Rogers is on the run. So you have something to separate everything from everything else visually, whereas like in the TV shows, there's no new suit until the very end, and then it's like, haha, revealed. I don't know. It's just a funny thing that I really don't like. So hopefully the other Marvel shows give them a suit faster than possible. Like She-Hulk. Is She-Hulk going to be She-Hulk with ripped clothes the entire time, and then finally get some unstable molecules spandex suit from her super cousin Dr. Hulk at the end of the series? Like, just let's move on from the new suit at the end episode trope. We've established it. We don't like it. Let's move on. The other thing that was weird too is, like, you had this whole thing with Captain America, Falcon becoming Captain America. They did not show the suit. The suit was a big secret. It was a big, big secret, and it wasn't until you saw that 6th episode when him bursting through the window that he was in a new suit. Like, all the promo images, he was all in the Falcon gear, you know, all that stuff. This Hawkeye show, they're like, we'll show you the new suit, but you're not going to see it at the end of, until the end of episode 6, probably, with the big fight. Like, it's been, like, if you look at the headers on Disney Plus, sometimes it's him and Kate in their new suits. Sometimes it's not. And it's like, well, is it a surprise or is it not? And if it is a surprise, okay, fine, then let it be a surprise. But if it's not a surprise, why are we holding back on the new suit idea. You even had a tease of it this episode. I know I'm rambling on about these suits for like 5 minutes, but you even had the tease with the 2 Christmas boxes in the left-hand corner in that LARPer guy's apartment. Like, hey, you want these? See these? He's like, nah, not right now. And we're like, yes, we do! What else are you doing? You're feeding the dog pizza? Man, come on. So, a whole lot of teases, a whole lot of nothing, and I'm, while I enjoyed this episode more because it did have that good Ronin action sequence, I still think this show's suffering, because we're doing things that are not Hawkeye. We're having Ronin fight a lot. And when you have Ronin fight a lot, yeah, it can be cool because you know why? Roman's got a full face mask and a hood. And this is the same thing they pulled in the second season of Arrow. They had that hood pulled down way over their head. Like, the hood was way bigger than any hoodie you'll ever buy, right? So the bottom of the hood can be like right here, and then you have a shadow so that you can't see the stuntman's face, right? And here it's even more because he's wearing a ski mask that only shows his eyes, and then when you add the hood, you really can't see anything. So yeah, you can have the stuntman do whatever and keep his hood up the whole time, So it's just a level of once you know the tricks, like when you see this stuff, I would hope it's not detrimental, but the fact that you do know these tricks, I think, is a little detrimental. It gives you more respect for the people who do their own stunts or who find other ways to hide stuntmen or whatever, just to lend a more realistic portrayal. I know it's a TV budget, so to say, but if they're treating these like movies and they have a movie budget, I don't know, where are the budget being spent? So, I don't know. Hopefully the next episode is like the last episode of Loki, which was phenomenal compared to everything else that we got in Loki Season 1. It's looking like it's going to be a whole lot of revelatory stuff, which is fine, but, I feel like they need to have the revelatory stuff like earlier in the season, like let's build up to this big fight climax. Let's not have revelations and climax stuff. Why not? Let's move it up a little bit to spread out the goodness over these 6 episodes instead of like front loading it and end loading it and then kind of having these nothing episodes in between. So there's my thoughts on Hawkeye episode 5. Let me know down below in the comments what you think of the show. As always, we will see you guys next time here in the Funny Pages.